A mechanic won a failing dreadnought for $5. The secret within haunts him still. Eli Grant wiped the sweat off his brow and squinted at the flickering lights of the abandoned spaceport. Dust and rust coated the hangar, and the smell of old fuel clung to everything. Most of the auction items were junk. Old starships, broken engines, and obsolete drones. But something about today felt different. Maybe it was the silence. Or maybe it was that strange pull he felt as he walked past row after row of abandoned relics. His boots clanged against the metal floor as he paused near a massive shadow at the far end of the hall. The crowd had mostly ignored it, and he couldn't blame them. The ship was enormous. An old dreadnought from the pre-war era. Its hull was scratched, dented, and coated with years of dust. Rust crept along the edges of the plating, and the massive engines looked like they hadn't fired in decades. 5 credits. That's what the auctioneer said it would start at. 5. Everyone else had moved on, uninterested in a ship that seemed more like a floating grave than a vessel of power. Eli's heart skipped a beat. 5 credits was nothing. For him, it was a gamble, but one that could change his life. He adjusted his cap and ran his hand along the cold metal of the hull. "It's massive," he muttered under his breath, "and it's mine if I want it." The auctioneer's voice rang out, announcing bids for smaller freighters, ignoring the giant dreadnought. Eli raised his hand. 5, he said. The crowd barely noticed. A few snickers echoed from corners of the hangar, but no one else stepped forward. "Sold!" the auctioneer barked after a pause. 5 credits to Eli Grant. Eli's stomach churned with excitement and disbelief. He had just won the biggest ship he had ever seen, for less than the cost of a small repair droid. He could barely believe it. The others laughed, shaking their heads. "A relic like that, you'll never get it running," one engineer called out. Eli ignored them. He had always loved impossible challenges. Broken machines spoke to him, whispered their secrets if you knew how to listen. And this ship, it screamed secrets. He ran his fingers over the control panels near the bridge. The glass was cracked, buttons were worn, and wires hung loose like vines in a forgotten jungle. But to Eli, it was more than broken. It was a puzzle waiting to be solved. He could feel it. The dreadnought was silent at first, as if it had been sleeping for centuries. Its hull groaned faintly under its own weight, and tiny sparks jumped from exposed wiring. Eli climbed up the side, using the ladders and footholds designed for crew members twice his size. Every step he took echoed through the empty ship like a drumbeat announcing a new era. He reached the bridge and pushed open the heavy doors. Dust swirled in the beams of his flashlight. The room was enormous, with rows of consoles that looked more like alien machinery than anything human-made. He ran his hands over the main console and felt the faint hum of dormant power. Something deep inside the ship stirred. Eli sat down in the captain's chair, imagining the ship alive under his touch. He ran diagnostics with the limited tools he had. Screens flickered weakly before going dark again. "Come on, old girl," he whispered. "I know you're not dead." Hours passed as he explored. In the cargo hold, he found crates labeled in languages he didn't recognize. Some contained spare parts, others were empty. In the engine room, he marveled at the size of the reactors. They were enormous, capable of propelling a small planet if they worked. And there in the center was the main core, a giant orb encased in layers of alien alloys, pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. Eli's fingers brushed the surface, and a shiver ran down his spine. The core responded with a faint vibration. Not enough to power the ship, but enough to make him believe it was alive. He stepped back, heart racing. "Okay," he muttered. "Maybe this is bigger than I thought." Night fell over the spaceport, but Eli didn't care. He slept in the bridge, curled up in the captain's chair, dreaming of star maps and alien worlds. The dreadnought hummed softly around him like it was keeping watch. In his dreams, he saw flashes of stars, alien fleets, and strange symbols etched into the hull. When he woke, the sun was just peeking over the horizon, and the ship seemed to hum louder, almost impatient. He spent the next few days examining the ship. He cleaned circuits, patched leaks, and reconnected damaged wiring. With each repair, the ship seemed to respond. Lights flickered, engines groaned, and strange symbols glowed faintly on the control panels. Eli began to understand that this was no ordinary dreadnought. It had secrets, and it was waiting for someone clever enough to unlock them. One evening, while testing the auxiliary systems, he noticed something unusual. A small panel in the corner of the bridge opened by itself, revealing a compartment he hadn't seen before. Inside was a strange device, glowing faintly with an otherworldly light. He reached for it, and the ship reacted immediately. The hum grew louder, vibrating through the metal floors, and a soft voice whispered in his mind. "Ellie Grant, you have awakened me." He jumped back, eyes wide. "Who's there?" he asked aloud, though he knew no one was in the hangar. The voice didn't answer again, but the hum continued, steady and insistent. He realized the ship was conscious, aware of him. From that moment, Eli knew this was no longer just a repair project. The ship had chosen him. And whatever lay within it, the secrets, the power, the knowledge, would not let him leave until he understood it. Word began to spread among the small colony of engineers at the spaceport. People whispered about the human who had won a dreadnought for 5 credits and dared to climb aboard. Some laughed at him. Some were jealous. But Eli ignored them all. He had a mission now. One the universe itself seemed to have handed him. Late at night, he explored deeper into the dreadnought, discovering corridors that seemed to shift and change as he walked. Strange markings lined the walls, glowing faintly, almost like the ship was alive and watching. In one chamber, he found old star maps etched into the metal, depicting sectors of space humans had never explored. In another, logs from alien captains who had commanded the ship centuries ago. Eli realized something chilling. This dreadnought had been part of an ancient fleet, feared across galaxies. Humans had never seen its like before, and yet here it was, in his hands. A mechanic from a tiny colony had inherited the keys to a ship that could change everything. But with that realization came fear. The ship's hum grew louder at night, almost like a heartbeat in the silence. Eli couldn't shake the feeling that he was not alone, that the dreadnought had a mind of its own, and it was watching him, learning him, testing him. One evening, as he was leaving the engine room, he paused. The core pulsed brighter than ever before, and the ship's hum formed a pattern, almost like it was trying to communicate. Eli knelt beside it, listening closely. He couldn't understand the message yet, but he felt it deep in his chest. The dreadnought wasn't just a machine. It was alive, and it wanted something from him. He stepped back, heart pounding. "I don't know what you want," he said softly, "but I'll find out." Outside, the stars twinkled, indifferent to the tiny human standing on the bridge of a giant ancient warship. Inside, the dreadnought pulsed, alive and patient, waiting for the one person clever enough to unlock its secrets. And Eli Grant, the mechanic who had won it for 5 credits, had no idea that his life and the fate of humanity was about to change forever. That night, as he lay in the captain's chair, the hum continued, soft and steady, and deep in the core of the dreadnought, something stirred. A pulse of energy that had waited centuries for a human capable of understanding it. Eli's adventure was just beginning, and the dreadnought had already decided it would not let him go. The ship waited. And so did the universe. The first light of morning spilled across the hangar, cutting through the dust motes that danced in the air. Eli Grant stretched, rubbing the soreness from his arms. He had spent the previous night exploring the dreadnought, learning its corridors, touching its pulsing core, and feeling the hum of something almost alive beneath the metal. But today was different. Today he had a plan. Bring it to life. He started with the main systems. The ship's power conduits were corroded, wires dangling like broken vines, and the control panels looked like they had been abandoned centuries ago. But Eli had a gift for broken machines. He understood their whispers, their hidden paths. He worked with quiet determination, reconnecting circuits, patching damaged conduits, and improvising replacements with whatever scraps he had on hand. As he worked, a faint vibration ran through the hull. At first he thought it was his imagination, but the tremor grew stronger, steady and deliberate, like the heartbeat of the ship itself. Eli froze. "You're awake?" he muttered. He didn't mean to speak aloud, but it slipped out, and the dreadnought seemed to respond, humming slightly louder, almost approvingly. Hours passed. Eli patched the life support systems and managed to bring minimal power to the engines. Screens flickered to life with strange alien symbols. Some were familiar, but most were not. Eli traced the patterns with his fingers, attempting to understand. The ship's AI, or whatever consciousness it held, was dormant but aware, its signals subtle yet insistent. He tried to communicate. "Can you understand me?" His voice echoed across the bridge. There was no reply, at least not in words, but the console lights pulsed in a rhythm that made his heart race. He had read about alien ship systems that could anticipate commands, that learned from whoever interacted with them. He realized that the dreadnought was studying him as much as he was studying it. Eli decided it was time to test the engines. With careful precision, he engaged the auxiliary power, and the ship shuddered, the vibration running through the floor like a low roar. The engine hum was deep, resonating with raw energy. He smiled.
"You've got power," he said, "and we're just getting started." For days, Eli worked tirelessly.
He repaired the communications array, managed to revive the environmental systems, and even reactivated minor navigation functions. The dreadnought responded to every adjustment he made. Lights flickered in corridors he hadn't explored, and a faint energy pulsed along the walls, as if guiding him to areas he should examine next. One night, while tracing power conduits to the main core, Eli noticed a small holographic projector hidden in the wall. He activated it, and a star map flickered to life, projected in the middle of the bridge. The map displayed sectors of space that humans had never charted, regions of the galaxy thought to be empty. Strange symbols marked certain locations, glowing faintly. One of them pulsed steadily, almost as if it were alive. Eli's eyes widened. "Coordinates," he whispered. The dreadnought was pointing him towards something. He didn't know what yet, but instinct told him it was important. It was a destination that only the ship knew, and only he could reach. He studied the hologram for hours, cross-referencing what little human data he had. Nothing matched. This was alien territory, untouched and mysterious. And the dreadnought wanted him to go there. The following morning, Eli began reactivating the ship's propulsion systems in earnest. He worked methodically, understanding the alien engineering slowly, carefully. It wasn't easy. Many components resisted repair, systems overloaded, and the consoles would flicker, sometimes displaying images that seemed to make no sense. But Eli noticed patterns in the chaos. With patience and intuition, he coaxed the systems back to life. By the end of the week, the dreadnought was operational, at least minimally. Its engines hummed, its shields held a static charge, and the bridge was alive with alien light. Yet the ship was still more than a machine. Its pulsing core, its shifting lights, the subtle vibrations through its corridors. It reacted to him, almost as if it was alive and aware of his intentions. Eli began to feel the weight of responsibility. This was not just a ship. It was a relic of a civilization humans had never understood. The logs he discovered hinted at vast battles fought across galaxies, alien fleets crushed or vanished. And now, the last survivor of that line had chosen him as its pilot. The thought both exhilarated and terrified him. He realized that he was not just repairing the dreadnought, he was awakening it, earning its trust. And it had tests for him, trials designed to see if he was clever, resourceful, and worthy. The first test came sooner than expected. As he experimented with the navigation controls, the ship reacted unexpectedly. The engines powered down for a moment, lights flickering, and the hum turned into a low, almost vocal vibration. Eli felt a shiver run down his spine. It was not malfunctioning. It was responding. He tried again, carefully repeating his commands. The ship hummed in a pattern this time, almost like it was communicating. Eli realized that it learned from his behavior. Every time he solved a problem or repaired a system, the The ship rewarded him with stability, opening new access points, revealing more functions. Curiosity burned in him. "What are you?" he whispered. "A machine? Or something more?" The dreadnought remained silent. No words, no messages, just a steady pulse and flickering lights. But Eli felt a connection growing, subtle yet undeniable. This ship was alive in a way humans had never encountered, and it had chosen him as its link to the universe. Eli decided it was time to follow the coordinates. He had reactivated the minimal systems needed for space travel. The engines could move, the shields would hold, and the ship's AI, or consciousness, seemed ready. He made preparations, checking every system again and again. This journey was dangerous. He didn't know what awaited him, and the ship's alien origins meant nothing in human manuals. As he initiated launch sequences, the dreadnought groaned under its own weight, lifting slowly off the hangar floor. Dust fell in clouds as the enormous vessel rose, sunlight glinting off its scratched and dented hull. Eli felt a thrill he had never known. He was piloting a giant, ancient warship, a relic of an alien fleet, and it trusted him to guide it. Space opened before him, vast and endless. Stars sparkled in the black canvas, galaxies swirling in silent majesty. The ship hummed beneath him, steady and alive, as if acknowledging that he had passed its first test. Eli navigated carefully, following the coordinates the ship had projected. Each jump through space felt like the dreadnought was nudging him along, guiding him towards something bigger than either of them. Days passed. Eli began to learn the ship's rhythms, understanding its subtle responses, a flicker here, a vibration there, a hum that changed with his actions. It was almost like the dreadnought was teaching him, preparing him for something he didn't yet understand. Then the first message came, not through speakers, but inside his mind, faint but clear.
"You are ready." Eli froze. He wasn't sure if he imagined it.
But the ship's hum shifted, steady and insistent, almost like a heartbeat synchronizing with his own. His stomach tightened with both excitement and fear. The dreadnought was alive, and now, for the first time, it communicated with him. It wasn't a threat, not yet, but it was a promise that the journey ahead would test him, challenge him, and reveal secrets humans had never touched. And Ellie knew one thing with certainty. He was not just piloting a ship, he was embarking on a path that would change humanity's place in the stars. The coordinates led to a region of space completely unknown, far beyond human charts. Strange energy readings pulsed in the distance, and the dreadnought vibrated stronger, almost urging him forward. Eli adjusted the course, heart racing. He had no map, no guide, only the ship's subtle instructions and his own skill. As they approached the first waypoint, a massive structure appeared in the distance, a remnant of alien engineering, floating silently in the void. Its size was staggering, dwarfing even the dreadnought itself. Eli's breath caught. The ship hummed in excitement, or maybe anticipation. He didn't know, but he felt it in his bones. This was only the beginning. The dreadnought had awakened, and Eli Grant, the mechanic who had claimed it for 5 credits, was about to discover why it had waited for him. He gripped the controls tightly, eyes wide, as the first mysteries of the lost alien stronghold loomed ahead. Whatever secrets it held, he was ready. Or at least, he hoped he was. The ship had chosen him, and now the universe awaited their next move. Eli Grant's eyes widened as the alien structure loomed closer. It was enormous, larger than anything he had ever seen, floating silently in the black void. Angular spires jutted into space, glowing faintly with an eerie blue light. The dreadnought hummed beneath him, thrumming with anticipation, as if it had been waiting centuries for this moment. Eli could feel the ship responding to the structure, pulsing slightly faster with every meter they approached. He had no instructions, no map, no knowledge of what he would find. All he had was the dreadnought's subtle guidance and his own instincts. That was enough. Humans thrived on challenges, and Eli had a gift for solving them. He adjusted the course, approaching the largest docking bay he could find. The bay doors opened with a low groan, as if recognizing him. The dreadnought moved inside slowly, its massive hull scraping along the magnetic docking guides. Inside, the structure was cavernous, with ceilings stretching hundreds of meters above. Strange machinery lined the walls, humming and shifting in ways that defied human engineering. Lights flickered in patterns, as if waiting for him to understand them. Eli stepped into the maintenance corridor to inspect the base systems. He marveled at the technology surrounding him. The walls were covered in alien scripts that shifted slightly when he tried to read them. Panels opened automatically as he approached, revealing power conduits and control modules, most of them inactive. But he had learned from the Dreadnought. Every system had a rhythm, every problem a solution. "Let's see what secrets you've been hiding." The Dreadnought responded with a low vibration as if affirming his words. Eli began to interface with the docking bay controls. He carefully connected the ship's systems to the structure's interface, allowing energy to flow between them. The Dreadnought hummed in excitement, and the panels on the walls lit up like stars igniting. Suddenly, the first test began. A holographic projection appeared in the center of the bay, a three-dimensional representation of the structure and the surrounding space. Strange symbols rotated around the projection, forming a puzzle of light and logic. Eli realized immediately that it was a challenge. The Dreadnought had guided him here for a reason. He studied the symbols, trying to understand their pattern. They were not random, they followed rules, but rules unlike anything human engineers had created. Eli traced them with his fingers, testing different sequences, watching the ship's response. The Dreadnought pulsed with energy when he got close and dimmed slightly when he was wrong. Hours passed. Eli's fingers ached from tracing the symbols, but he refused to give up. He remembered every repair, every adjustment he had made in the last week. Human ingenuity, he realized, was what the Dreadnought sought. Creativity, patience, adaptability. Not brute force, not firepower. At last, he found the sequence. The symbols aligned perfectly, and the projection expanded, revealing hidden corridors within the structure. Lights shifted to illuminate his path. The Dreadnought hummed proudly, vibrating like a living thing that had just approved its pilot. Eli felt a thrill unlike any he had known. He was not just exploring, he was being recognized. He moved down one of the illuminated corridors, keeping the ship's sensors active. Strange readings pulsed along the walls, energy signatures he could not explain, moving in patterns that seemed deliberate. As he followed them, he realized that the structure itself was a living map, a puzzle designed to test not just strength or skill, but understanding. At the end of the corridor, he found a chamber unlike any other. It was enormous, its walls lined with alien technology that pulsed with soft light. At the center stood a pedestal, and on it rested a small orb of energy. The orb glowed with a color he could not name, shifting between shades as he watched. The Dreadnought hummed with a sound like laughter, or perhaps approval. Eli approached carefully. He could feel the power radiating from the orb, but it was not hostile. Instead, it felt curious, testing him. He reached out, and as his fingers brushed the surface, the orb pulsed, sending a wave of energy through him. Images flashed in his mind. Alien fleets, battles, stars he had never seen, and technology humans had never dreamed of. He stumbled back, heart racing. The Dreadnought vibrated beneath him, almost like it was guiding him through the visions. Eli realized that the orb was a repository of knowledge, a relic of a civilization far older and more advanced than humanity, and the Dreadnought had led him here, trusting that he could comprehend it. Over the next days, Eli explored the chamber and the surrounding corridors. He discovered holographic logs of alien captains, instructions for technologies long forgotten, and maps of systems humans had never charted. Each discovery was another piece of the puzzle, another step toward understanding the ship and its purpose. But the structure was not passive. It tested him constantly. Doors would shift, paths would change, and energy barriers would rise, forcing him to find creative solutions. He navigated collapsing floors with calculated jumps, rerouted power through alien circuits, and solved logic sequences that seemed impossible. Each success was met with the dreadnought's vibrations, each failure a subtle nudge to try again. Through it all, Eli began to understand the dreadnought on a deeper level. It was not just a ship, it was a living machine, designed to select its pilot carefully. And he was proving worthy. His human ingenuity, his ability to improvise, adapt, and persist, was exactly what the ancient designers had anticipated. One night, after successfully unlocking a new wing of the structure, Eli sat in the bridge of the dreadnought and allowed himself a moment of reflection. The stars outside seemed brighter, more vibrant. He felt connected to the ship in a way he could not explain. It was as if the dreadnought could sense his thoughts, respond to his emotions, and guide him through the unknown. But with every discovery came a sense of unease. The structure and the ship were teaching him, yes, but they were also testing him. He could not shake the feeling that there were forces watching, monitoring, evaluating. He was not alone. The first clear communication came while he rested in the bridge. The hum of the dreadnought shifted, forming words in his mind, faint but unmistakable. "You understand, you may proceed." Eli's pulse quickened. The ship had spoken, not through speakers, not through alien symbols, but directly. It trusted him enough to communicate in a way humans could understand. And now, he realized, the real challenge was beginning. He followed the new corridors revealed by the orb, discovering chambers filled with alien technology far beyond anything humanity had ever created. Weapons, propulsion systems, energy sources, all dormant, waiting for someone capable to awaken them. And the dreadnought hummed, guiding him, almost proud of each new step he took. The final test of this phase came in the heart of the structure. Eli entered a room filled with energy conduits, a massive console at the center. Panels lit up as he approached, forming a complex pattern of lights and symbols. He recognized it immediately. A puzzle designed to measure intelligence, creativity, and patience. Hours turned into a full day as he worked through it, tracing symbols, connecting energy nodes, adjusting conduits, and observing the dreadnought's responses. The challenge was immense, but Eli thrived under pressure. Human minds were adaptable, and he had a knack for seeing solutions where others saw chaos. Finally, the last sequence aligned. The console pulsed brightly, sending a surge of energy through the chamber. The dreadnought thrummed with a deep, resonant vibration, almost like laughter. A new holographic map appeared, showing not just the structure, but other locations across the galaxy, hidden systems, and alien fleets, long thought lost.
Eli stepped back, awestruck.
The dreadnought had revealed its purpose. It had been waiting for a human capable of understanding, someone who could unlock its secrets without fear, without brute force, and without greed. He had proven himself. Yet even as he celebrated, a faint chill ran down his spine. The structure hummed around him, the lights shifting in subtle patterns. He realized that this was only the beginning. The dreadnought had more to teach him, more challenges ahead, and far greater secrets still hidden in the cosmos. Eli took a deep breath and placed his hand on the main console. "All right," he whispered. "Let's see what's next." The dreadnought vibrated in agreement. It was ready to leave the alien stronghold, to venture into uncharted space, and to reveal the full extent of its power. And Eli, the mechanic who had claimed a failing dreadnought for 5 credits, was ready to follow. But deep in the shadows of the structure, unseen and silent, something stirred, a presence older than the stars, aware of the human who had unlocked part of the dreadnought's secrets, watched him. Eli's journey was far from over. The final trials, the true mysteries, and the ultimate revelation of the dreadnought's purpose still awaited him. The ship hummed, alive and patient, ready for the next step, and Eli Grant, human and undaunted, prepared to face whatever lay ahead. Eli Grant felt the dreadnought vibrate beneath him as they left the alien stronghold. The massive vessel hummed with life stronger than ever, pulsing with a power that humans had never touched. The orb he had discovered within the heart of the stronghold continued to glow faintly, embedded within the dreadnought's core, feeding it knowledge, energy, and purpose. He had unlocked much of the ship's potential, but the dreadnought still held secrets, layers of technology that could not yet be understood. Eli knew this was only the beginning. He had a choice: retreat to safety or push forward and discover the full scope of the ship's power. "All right," he said quietly, gripping the controls. "Let's see what you can really do." The ship responded immediately. Systems that had been dormant for centuries roared to life. Shields surged with energy. Engines thrummed with immense force, and the bridge was flooded with alien symbols now fully illuminated. Holographic star maps expanded in every direction, showing locations humans had never even dreamed existed. Eli's heart raced. The Dreadnought wasn't just operational. It was a superweapon of knowledge, a library of ancient power, and it had chosen him as its pilot. His first priority was the human colony. He needed to return with the Dreadnought, to show the world what humans could achieve. No one had believed a mechanic could awaken such a machine. They had laughed at him when he bid 5 credits, dismissed his ambition and doubted his skill. But the Dreadnought had chosen him, and soon the galaxy would know that human ingenuity was unmatched. The journey back was tense. Eli monitored every system, noting strange readings in the void of space. The Dreadnought's AI, or consciousness, reacted to every adjustment he made. Its pulse changed with his movements, almost as if it were aware of his decisions, testing him continuously. Yet he had proven himself before. He was no longer intimidated. Every obstacle was another puzzle waiting to be solved. When the human colony came into view, Eli's stomach tightened. They had never seen anything like this. The Dreadnought's immense hull blotted out stars, its alien design shimmering with a subtle, otherworldly glow. The colony scrambled ships and sensors trying to understand what had arrived in orbit. Eli activated a soft beacon, sending a signal in the universal human code.
"This is Eli Grant," he said. "I bring proof that humans can master the unknown." At first there was confusion.
Then excitement. Engineers, scientists, and officials gathered, watching the massive Dreadnought hovering above the colony. Eli guided the ship to the largest docking bay, careful to respect its fragile systems and massive weight. Slowly, deliberately, the Dreadnought settled onto the bay floor. People approached cautiously. Eli could see their awe, the mixture of disbelief, wonder, and admiration. How did you get this to work?" a senior engineer asked, voice trembling. Eli smiled, wiping grease from his hands. "We didn't just fix it," he said. "We understood it." Humans can solve problems that seem impossible. The Dreadnought pulsed softly, almost like it was acknowledging his words. Its core glowed with a vibrant energy, projecting holographic data into the hangar. Schematics, star charts, and technology beyond imagination floated in the air. Scientists gasped, taking notes, trying to comprehend what had been entrusted to them. Over the next days, Eli led the efforts to fully unlock the ship's systems. The Dreadnought revealed weapons that were non-lethal but powerful, energy shields capable of protecting entire colonies, and propulsion systems that could traverse vast distances in hours instead of years. Every time humans touched the alien technology, they struggled to understand it, but Eli guided them, translating the alien logic into human solutions. The Dreadnought seemed almost proud. Its hum resonated through the hangar, vibrating along the floor, walls, and ceiling. It had waited for a human who could unlock its full potential, and it had found one. Eli could feel the connection. It wasn't just a ship, but a partner, a mentor, and a tool for humanity to reach new heights. Eli decided to take the Dreadnought on its first mission. He plotted a course to a distant, uninhabited sector known for its hazardous conditions. He wanted to demonstrate that humans could master even the most dangerous environments with creativity and intelligence. The Dreadnought pulsed in agreement, ready for the challenge. As they approached the sector, space became treacherous. Asteroid fields, magnetic storms, and rogue comets tested the ship's agility and Eli's skill. The Dreadnought reacted instantly, adjusting shields, rerouting energy, and maneuvering with precision. Eli marveled at how it seemed to anticipate his thoughts, guiding him through hazards without hesitation. He reached the heart of the sector and activated the sensors. Hidden within a massive asteroid cluster was an energy signature, another remnant of the alien civilization. Eli knew the Dreadnought had led him here for a reason. He carefully aligned the ship, following subtle vibrations that only he could sense. The massive vessel glided through the asteroids as if the void itself had cleared a path. At last, they arrived at a chamber deep within the asteroid field. Eli opened a panel on the Dreadnought and connected it to the chamber's ancient systems. Lights flared, energy flowed, and the chamber hummed to life. Machines long dead began to function again, revealing technologies humans had never seen. Power sources, communication devices, even medical systems capable of regenerating tissue. Eli smiled. Humanity had inherited a treasure far beyond gold or weapons. The Dreadnought had unlocked it, guided by him, a single mechanic. For centuries, humans had underestimated their own potential. Now, Eli realized, they had proof. Creativity, ingenuity, and courage could rival the greatest civilizations in the galaxy. Back at the colony, Eli's success made him a hero. People respected him not just for his skill, but for his vision. He had proven that humans could understand, master, and improve technologies far beyond their own making. Engineers crowded around him, asking questions, seeking advice, eager to learn from the mechanic who had awakened the Dreadnought. But Eli never lost sight of the ship's presence. The Dreadnought was more than a machine. It was alive, patient, and intelligent. It hummed quietly in the hangar, a constant reminder that humanity had a partner in the stars, a guardian and a teacher, waiting for them to grow. Eli could feel its pulse, steady and reassuring, as if it were reminding him that the journey had only just begun.
In the weeks that followed, Eli led expeditions into deep space.
The Dreadnought became a beacon for humanity, unlocking hidden systems, revealing lost alien colonies, and even diffusing dangerous phenomena before they threatened human settlements. All of this was achieved without conflict, without violence, through ingenuity, understanding, and courage. The humans learned quickly. They realized that the Dreadnought was not just a relic, but a bridge to knowledge, a path to mastery. Eli's name became legendary, not because he fought battles or destroyed enemies, but because he proved that humans could adapt, learn, and surpass expectations. Yet, even in triumph, Eli felt the weight of the ship's presence. He knew it had more secrets, more lessons yet to teach. The Dreadnought's hum was a constant reminder that the universe was vast, full of mysteries, and that humans were capable of rising to meet them. One evening, Eli stood on the bridge, staring at the stars. The Dreadnought pulsed beneath him, alive and patient. "We've done it," he whispered. "We've shown them what humans can do." The ship responded with a low vibration, almost like a nod. Eli smiled. The journey was far from over, but humanity had taken its first step toward the stars, guided by ingenuity, courage, and the trust of a living alien warship. The Dreadnought waited patiently in orbit, a sentinel and a teacher, ready to lead humanity further. And Eli Grant, the mechanic who had won a failing Dreadnought for 5 credits, stood at the helm of history, knowing that the universe had only just begun to notice the true potential of humans. Above the hangar, stars twinkled in silent acknowledgement. Below, the Dreadnought thrummed with life, a heartbeat of knowledge and power. And for the first time in centuries, humanity had a guide capable of taking them to the edge of the unknown and beyond. Eli took a deep breath, gripping the controls. "Let's see where you take us next." The Dreadnought hummed louder, as if responding, the journey was far from over. But the future belonged to humans, and they had the courage, creativity, and heart to rise to every challenge the universe could throw at them.